Welcome to the new Research Master 6 Variations process. In this video, we will cover the questions you need to complete as part of the Variation E-form, then go through the submission process. A Variation E-form may be used to notify research services of a change to details of an existing project. We'll use two example scenarios, one example of a transfer out and an example of a variation to a project. Some of the steps may vary for you depending on the specifics of your project. A variation is always based on an existing project in Research Master. Remember, you need to answer all questions in order because any answers to questions may trigger the reveal of important follow-up questions in the same section or in subsequent pages of the E-form. The first page in the introduction section is the variation summary. Here you will find that the type grant has been pre-populated. For the purpose of grant variations, you will need to select grant. Please note that any questions with a red asterisk next to them are mandatory. You will not be able to save or move to the next page without completing them. You will then need to identify whether you are requesting a transfer out to another institution or organisation or a variation to your grant other than a transfer out by selecting one option. If you do not need to watch this section on the transfer out option, you can click on the timestamp below and go straight to other variations. Selecting the transfer out option will expose a text box asking you to provide further detail about the institution or organisation you would like to transfer the grant to, why the transfer is required, and to advise of any discussions that have already taken place. We will now enter this information. Once you have entered the details, click the green Save arrow in the bottom right corner to move to the next page. The Attachments page allows you to attach any documents relevant to your transfer out to another institution. In this case, I will upload a deed of novation. Click Add. This will expose three fields. Enter the name of the document and select the document type from the drop-down list. In this case, we are attaching a soft copy. It is optional to add any comments here about the document you are attaching. To attach the document, click Browse. Once you have selected the relevant file, click OK. To delete the attachment, click the rubbish bin icon. When you have attached all necessary documents, click Submit Form. You will be asked, are you sure you want to submit this variation request? Click OK. You'll now see a notification at the top of the screen indicating that your form has been submitted. Then you'll see status information on the top and left of screen, indicating that the variation is pending Variations Review by Research Services. While this variation form awaits review by Research Services, it will appear in your pending list of projects here. If you do not need to watch this section on variations, not including the transfer out option, you can click on the timestamp below and go to Further Support. Now we will look at another example of a variation form. This time we will select a variation rather than a transfer out. Selecting this will automatically expose all possible options of changes you may wish to make as part of your variation. You will need to tick all boxes for the relevant changes you wish to make in your variation. For the purposes of this training, we will select two variations to the project. At the bottom of this page, you are invited to provide any further comments or explanation of your variation request. We're done with the variation summary page. Click the green right arrow to move to the next section of the form. When you do this, the system will auto-save everything you've completed so far. On this page, we will make any adjustments to the project details that we selected on the first page. You may have made some changes to the project title. You can edit the text here. You may also wish to amend the project start or end dates of your project. For this example, we will be extending our funding by 1 year. In the Notes section, you will need to provide information as to why the dates have changed. Click the green right arrow to move to the next section of the form. On the Financials page, you are provided with a financial report of your current details. Click the link and the report will open up in a new tab. Once you have checked your current details, select which type of change to funding you are making. In this case, we are requesting additional funding. Then enter the details of amendments to funding in the text box, ensuring you include details of changes by year and by noting the less or additional amounts. For this example, we have $20,000 of unspent funds on our project in our final year of funding. We have extended the project dates out by 1 year and therefore plan to carry this amount forward into the final year to complete some additional activities. Click the green right arrow to move to the next section of the form. Attach any relevant additional documents to support your variation. In this example, we will attach a revised budget for the final year of additional funding. At this point, the form is complete. You could submit it now, but if you aren't ready to, you could just choose to save this and return to it later. To save, scroll back up to the top and click Save. The system will save all data you've entered. Click Projects, Research Project Requests to go back to your list of projects where you'll see a number of categories. A form that is still in data entry stage and that has not yet been submitted can be found under the heading Project Status with the status of Data Entry. The list of forms you're working on will display here. Click the project code to reopen the form. You can use the Form tab sections on the left of screen to navigate between pages. If you're ready to submit the form, scroll to the bottom of the Attachments page. Click Submit Form. You'll now see a notification at the top of the screen indicating that your form has been submitted. Then you'll see status information on the top and left of screen indicating that the variation is pending Variation RS Review. While this RFA form awaits review by Research Services, it will appear in your pending list of projects here. In some cases where a change has occurred with the project that may affect resourcing, funding, or HR at a discipline or unit level, a research grants officer may send your variation form to your head of school for approval. In this case, an automatically generated email will notify you. Once your head of school has approved, your form will go back to Research Services for review and processing. For further step-by-step support with completing the variation e-form, please visit the Research Services website for a collection of quick reference how-to guides. Alternatively, you can email Research Systems for further assistance and troubleshooting.